Well, I have a coach for my other sport,
Hmm.
and I don't know, I think like your philosophy and his philosophy are actually kind of similar. They're
Sure.
very like holistic,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
and
What sport, if
I,
you don't mind me asking?
I'm a boulderer, so rock climbing.
Oh, that's awesome. Sick. I have immense respect for the athleticism of those people. That's honestly one of those skills that if in another life, I'd definitely be into. Grip strength,
Yeah,
core
it's
strength, that kind of stuff. I used to do a lot
yeah,
of
it's very fun.
parkour when I was like in high school. I used to teach gymnastics and stuff, and so that's sick.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Well, sounds good. Sounds good. I'm seeing here Masters at the time of the form.
Yeah,
Soldier, Bastion, if Soldier's taken. Is that the case still?
yeah. Like last season, I had 60 hours on Soldier, 30 on Bastion, so really not a whole lot of Bastion.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. And still Soldier.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's interesting because I don't see a lot of Soldier mains. What about the character appeals to you? I'm curious.
Um, I think well, when I originally started the game, I was just mostly playing like hit scan in general, and then I realized I really just like playing like Soldier the best because I like respect like his aim style the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Cassidy or Ashe or Widow, I could always just like I could feel like I could just like be in a bad position or just accidentally kill someone
Yeah.
because the burst damage is quite high. But with Soldier, I feel like I really liked having like the high amount of intention it needed to like kill someone and win a 1v1.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, that's why I like the character, I'd say.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Nice little heal station buff yesterday. About time. It's crazy that
Yeah.
they had an 18-second cooldown. Like I always thought that was kind of silly. But okay. Understanding my weak points, but more importantly, I want to identify them in my own gameplay. I think I'm doing this somewhat, but it is hard to know if I actually understand the process. I play around 10 to 11 hours per week, which I'm sure you have a very busy schedule, so that's fine. Goals are I want to understand my weak points, how to figure out weak points, and long term, I would like to become a good soldier player, whatever that means. What rank are you at the moment?
I went like 2 and 5 yesterday, so I'm currently Diamond 1.
Diamond one. Okay. So you're good. I would say if you're platinum and above, you're good at the game. Like from a statistical standpoint, like you are significantly above average, right? And then diamond and then touching masters, I would go as far to say that you're great at the game.
Yeah, it's definitely like a shifting goalpost.
That's exactly it, right? Like
Yeah.
I think it's you have high expectations from yourself, and so you always want to do better. But I think the more important goal to have would be that you enjoy that process of improvement, so you never really want it to end. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I do like it.
So if that's your primary motivator, then we're good. But if it's the shifting goalpost because I'm never going to be happy or grateful for where I'm at, then that's obviously not good, right? Because that's going to destroy your joy for what you're doing. And I'm not saying that that's where you're at. Just I would take some time to reflect on what really your goals are and what your goals should be. What I would say is if we look at your short-term goals, which is understanding weak points, how to figure out weak points, I think that's a admirable goal because it gives you a feeling of ownership about like what I need to change, like what do I need to be actually doing. So even if I don't have the time to reach champion or grandmaster 5 or 4 or whatever, at least I can understand kind of like what that process would look like, right? There's some sort of satisfaction and ownership over that. But quite frankly, with the amount of time that you're putting in right now, it's not likely that Grandmaster is going to be possible.
Okay.
Maybe if Soldier got Giga buffed, potentially, and you just had all those skill sets going into it, but it's not likely that you're going to hit Grandmaster. It's possible, but it's not likely to be able to hit Grandmaster.
Yeah. Yes, I see that.
That being said, I will say that you are objectively not only good at the game, but great at the game. Like you are better than 95, 96% of players at playing the game right now. So that's, if that's what you want to feel good about yourself, there you go. Like it's just statistically true. Okay. I think my mechanics are fine. Now I'm curious, like you say that, is that just because, how long have you been playing Overwatch? I guess I should have asked that question to start.
Um, so I have a total of 500 hours, but the first 250 are between like near the end of Overwatch 1 and fall 2021 up until
Yeah.
season 9.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
last 250 hours have been basically since season 10.
So it's just, bursts of attention. Okay, what brought you in and
Yeah.
what brought you back? Like, when did those cycles come in? What got you to initially find the game? What got you to take a break? And then what got you to come
Oh.
back and play again?
Um, I'd say I didn't start gaming until like fall 2021, so that was the
Got
start.
it.
And some of my friends played, so it was just kind of natural to start playing. But
Got it.
I did like it, but I had also like tried like Valorant at that time, and I just liked that game more.
Yeah,
So I was mostly
makes
playing
sense.
that.
Makes sense.
But
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. So it's
Yeah.
more just like I like something else better, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it makes
exactly.
sense. Makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't discourage you from playing Soldier, but I will say that Soldier's not necessarily the most uniquely Overwatch hero ever. So
No, he's not.
if you ever do find yourself like getting bored with it, like you're probably gonna find similar enjoyment elsewhere too. Okay, and why now? Like, why? What about the game has got you back in and enjoying what you're doing right now? Like, what about Soldier or just the environment of which you're playing it?
I would say like during the time I was playing Valorant, I was doing like playing a lot of Kovacs too. Initially, because like the encouragement, it was from the encouragement of my brother, who's
Yeah.
is Voltaic Nova. Like, are you familiar
Yeah.
with the Voltaic ranks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nova sounds big, so that sounds scary. So I
Yeah,
imagine that's
from-
very good.
uh, from his explanation, Voltaic Grandmaster. Like if you are Voltaic Grandmaster, you have the raw mechanics to go pro in like any game.
Hmm.
So Nova's like kind of a step above that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So anyway, and I think like my mechanics like leveled up to the point where I didn't really feel like that rewarded in Valorant.
Yeah.
And so I started playing Overwatch more. And I was like, okay, this is like it feels a little more rewarding. Like
Yeah.
I like the tactile feedback you get from aiming.
Yeah. I agree.
Also the game sense, and playing like Widow in Overwatch even like doesn't really give me the same sense of like that feedback.
Well, there's some dynamics to it. It's weird that like aim feels slightly less important in Overwatch, but it also is harder in Overwatch, I think,
Yeah,
objectively.
it's true.
So it feels like when you're able to kind of marry all of those skills together, it just feels great.
Yeah.
I played a lot of different games, and I don't even playing a lot of Marvel Rivals the last several months. Beta, closed beta, and then live now. It's like Marvel Rivals still has a long ways to go to like match the feeling of Overwatch in that aspect, like the dopamine. I don't know if it's audio design or what, but yeah. Okay, makes sense. Mechanics are fine. I have a hard time with Soldier on these small maps. Makes total sense. I off-angle on flank a lot. Makes total sense. But I have a hard time identifying if a flank off-angle was bad in execution, or if I should just play frontline Soldier. A weird down a tank, just mean Tracer, frontline, or play normally. I would always say the rule with Soldier is always play normally. Never change how you play. The only thing that really should factor in how you change your positioning is more to do with what the map gives you and not whether you're down one or up one, really. So, for example, you're on a new Queen Street, right? If I'm playing new Queen Street into like hard sniper comp, you're familiar with that map, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm hard flanking. Long sight lines, I'm going to get my head blown off. If I'm not behind the Widowmaker, I'm going to get my head blown off, right? It's a general rule, right? But if I'm playing that exact same map and I'm playing versus Tracer, Wrecking Ball, I'm not hard flanking. I'm not going to be sitting inside my own backline. I am going to be taking angles, but I'm going to be taking angles as if I was playing a sniper character. Long sight lines, trying to create as much distance so that I can poke these characters down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, but even then, it's still not standing behind my tank because you control no space if you do so, and you expose yourself to the flank. So you actually have to, quote unquote, mark the angles and setup. And we'll talk about that. Okay. That's mostly all I have from your form. Do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, I have one question.
Go for it.
I think you see it in some of the VODs, but let's say like I want to take an angle and it's being like marked by, let's say, like a Tracer, for example. Should I just like duel the Tracer and take the 1v1 or? Okay.
Yep, win the 1v1. As long as the duel... Okay, so the way that look at it is this. Everything in Overwatch is a resource trade, right? So if you're dueling the Tracer and you outplay the Tracer, even if she doesn't die, she will demand resources, more resources than you will. And so you will win, right? That's the way to look at it. The important way to win those duels is two things. One is we'll call mechanics, which is really everything. Your aim, your healing station, your helix, your positioning, your cover usage, just how you take fights, all the details, right? The second one is which angle are you fighting for? So in other words, if I'm playing Tracer and like I'm taking or Soldier, excuse me, and I'm like at a really tight flank, right? And I walk into a Tracer in a really tight flank, who's likely to win that cooldown trade, me or the Tracer?
I'd have to guess and say that Tracer if it's like a really tight
probably
area.
Tracer, right? If you don't hit that helix, and sometimes even if you do, you're not likely to win that duel because that's her strength for that angle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
She's better in that angle. But if you are able to take more of a mid-range, just anywhere from 20 meters plus, right? And she has to use a blink to close the distance, or you're able to get 1 or 2 bullets in. Now you've significantly increased your chances of winning that resource trade. Now I want you to think about what I just said and pretend we're playing versus Widowmaker. What angles are going to create a mechanical advantage for you versus a Widowmaker? It's going to be the opposite. You are going to be the Tracer now, right? The tighter angles. So even if you don't kill the Widow, if you contest a Widow on a tighter angle, you're going to probably have a better chance of getting a favorable resource trade. If you contest a Tracer in a longer angle, you're probably going to have... And so what you have is you have this character that's really down the middle, right? Where your ability to hit your shots and hit your helixes is probably the most important thing. But secondary to that is making sure that you're choosing the correct angle given the circumstance.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's what allows you to actually win resource trades. And if you take an angle and there's somebody there, but you're like, hey, this angle is actually pretty good for my effective range, or do it. Yeah, do it. You don't even need to pop off. You might even just shoot tank, or you just might force packs on a Tracer, and you just sit there and don't need healing. That's a positive resource trade.
Okay.
Because you're at a point now where, like, Masters, Diamond, people take flanks, and they're going to take flanks all the time.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely noticed that more.
So, you're going to be contested every step of the way. That's just how it goes. But there's still value in contesting. So, okay, let's go through this. So, what we could do, if you'd like, is we'll definitely look at your CD usage and some of your mechanical stuff and so on, right? But what we can also do is we can just kind of zoom through these maps and just look at your positioning in each and every single fight.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I think that's like the biggest thing. Like,
sure,
I do waste. Like sometimes I waste my heal pads. Sometimes I waste my rocket.
Well, heal pad's one of the hardest cooldowns in the game to use. It's and it's not in a good way. Like not as in like, oh, you just have to be really smart. It's kind of RNG, because if you get dove, you run. But if you don't get dove,
that's true.
You heal station. But then what if my healers can heal me? Or what if they just look away from me and I don't need a heal station anymore? It's just a really poorly designed ability. So, you can improve your use of it, but there will always be a percentage of your heal stations that it is physically or mentally or psychologically impossible for you to know whether it was a good or a bad heal station. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to know.
So, like, you could kind of like look at this here and be like, generally versus most heroes, you're going in blind here. Is this going to be your effective range versus most characters that are going to roll out here?
I would say yes.
I would say yes too.
The tricky part's all the cover, I think.
I would say yes too. Well, that's the thing though. Is like you're thinking about cover in terms of, oh, I might not be able to secure kills. That is true, but I think the pressure here is pretty good. I say this is fine. Okay. The question is it better, and we should always do this, than here? Higher risk, higher reward for sure. Higher risk, higher reward for sure.
Yeah. When this map first came out, I usually rolled out this way, but like recently I've been experimenting with that higher angle, and I haven't really been able to tell which one's better.
Well, I will say this: the one advantage that your left angle 100% has is what if you roll out and they're in snipers? Here, how do you deepen your angle? Right, not comfortably. You have to do the jump pad and go to here.
Yeah.
Whereas with here, if you peek and there's a damage boosted Ash, you just drop and run, right? You just drop and run, right? It's still screwy, but at least you have some form of deepen on your rotations. Do you kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so maybe go here if I know they have snipers, so later in the game.
Yeah, yes and no. What I'm saying is that this rollout is probably fine because it gives you choices, right? You can deepen, you can shallow. If they dive you here, you don't instantly die. This is a good heal station. That is a good helix. And this is kind of what we talked about, like positive resource trade, right? Like it's not just all about damage, but like kind of if you look a little bit at like the pressure and the enemy's response, Lucio backs off, Soldier wraps to pressure you. He loses that resource trade. So he has to back off and demands Lucio to rotate. So the question here really comes down to how are you aiming? Who are you shooting? What are your mechanics like? The heal station is good. The helix is fine, maybe a little too far right.
Yeah, it was a bit too far right.
But like this is just the nature. Like that helix really needs to hit, right? But I think in general this has been a fairly decent fight from you. That helix is really important. And then I would just back off here by holding the angle. Never, ever, ever drop to main. Never.
Yeah, that was a poor choice.
You either disengage or you hold the angle in case they over push. I win so many fights because I hold the angle and they get greedy and they try to press W and then you just kill them, right? Either that or you disengage while staying on the angle. It's your safest spot.
Okay.
But I would say probably decent angle. Probably decent. One little thing to consider is if you're concerned that your LOS isn't good enough here. When would you be able to rotate versus a dive tank? So you don't want to drop because Doomfist. Makes sense. But when could you? This is not just for Doomfist. This is for Winston. This is for D.Va. This is to a lesser extent for Hazard. This is for Wrecking Ball. This is for everything.
Like for Winston, if I know he doesn't have like jump.
Yes.
Then
And that's
it.
That's it right there. All dive tanks. If you see pressure on that dive tank or you see cooldowns, you rotate. Okay. So you know they no longer have the cooldowns to punish you for taking a deep angle. Because like right now, I would love for you to go, okay, this angle is fine, but they're rotating away from me. I'm going to drop to here and apply pressure. But the question is did you see that window? And I don't think you did.
No, yeah.
Doom still has cooldowns. Your Rein is not applying a ton of pressure right now. Now, maybe now you could, but the problem now is the Soldier's already rotated to mark your angle. You see that? So you could really safely just drop in the middle and rotate. So I actually think this fight from you, it's all the little things. Like that helix was really important. Could have hit a couple more shots here and there. But that's it. You did fine. Yep. Now this is tricky.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to do here.
What do you think? Before the Doomfist is here, what do you think about this angle?
Well, I like it against the DPS, but probably should have been aware about easily getting dove here.
Is this easy though? You can't just judge, oh, I got dove, so therefore it was bad. Because in theory, that you could have also, the exact same cooldown change could have happened here. Slam, cancel, punch, right? But the difference is that, it costs how many cooldowns? 2. Not 1, 2. You understand? So here, if it costs him both of his cooldowns and you still have, Team LOS, cover, whatever, I think this is fine. Like, this is just a good play from him with Empowered Punch. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
You just can't get Empowered Punch. That's all. Like, if you see Empowered Punch, and honestly here, you probably should have used your repositioning instead of using your
my gun.
your damage. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I thought of that immediately after I died.
Yeah. Because that's the Soldier classic, right? Like, you can't really take stuff to the face too often. You pretty much are just always have to run from any threat. But the angle itself is fine. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Your angle is good to shoot any target. You know there are multiple targets around here. Please don't shoot the Nano Doomfist if you have other targets available. Thank you. Good stuff. That's kind of what we talked about in terms of disengaging on the angle, right? You see that? It was good. And then now, I mean, this is kind of what we talked about, right? Is this a favorable resource trade for you?
Against probably not.
I mean, I kind of feel like it is, right? Because well, I mean, think about it, right? You miss the helix, right? But is it reasonable to try for this? Yes. He's marking you. Yes.
Okay,
Doomfist goes on you. You create a little bit of distance, you use cover, you actually use your run, and now your healing station is actually getting a lot of value here for once. And like that's a pretty decent commitment from them. The only question that you have to ask yourself is, with the information that you have about their composition, is there a better or another angle available that you could have rotated to from here? Right? It has to be somewhere here. So
Yeah,
let's sniff around. Obviously not. Way too close. Almost never good. This, really good. Really, really good. But obviously it's so close that you really need to make sure that you have information on Doomfist. Correct?
Okay.
So this would be a late angle. Go ahead.
Yeah, I take this angle sometimes, but usually, I would. Actually, I'm not entirely sure when I decide to take that angle. Now that I think about it, I take it occasionally.
That's your problem. That's your problem.
Yeah.
You're level 3, right? In terms of you have the mechanical capabilities of like kind of how the character works. That's number 1. Number 2, do you understand angles, flanks good? But number 3 is actually understanding which angles, flanks situationally make sense and how to use those angles and flanks.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Like you're at a point in time where you will benefit from taking angles and flanks completely brainlessly. Just turning your brain off and take a flank, even if it's bad. You will still win more games than the average player, right? But if you want to go, okay, knowing the situation here, I can hear Doomfist, I should be rotating and going for the deeper play. And there's a lot of factors that factor in here. I would say maybe there's 3 here. Number 1, your effective range, okay? Number 2, enemy comp. And number 3, the ult situation, or the fight plan situation. Like you look at this here and you go, okay, they don't have beat. They don't have nano. I have visor. Let's just say that you did, right? All of a sudden, deeper plays become more attractive. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, you don't need to get to that level just yet. That's like level 4, okay? All you need to do, though, I encourage you to start with this character, is looking at the composition and think, what angle makes sense? And experimenting. Solve the problem. Solve the problem. There's almost always 2 choices, which simplifies things a great deal for you, right? There's not like 4 choices. The question is, which one are you going to take? You chose the worst one here. It wasn't terrible. You still chose an angle. And honestly, you played it pretty well. But still.
Yeah, it could be better.
Right. And better because of the fact that this was just as close as this.
here.
But you needed a play to retake this. You needed some chaos to retake this. And you did know that Doomfist was not here. That's why.
Okay. I guess I need to be better at keeping track of like where enemies' positions actually are. Like right here,
and the crucial thing is it's not everybody, right? That's not possible. It's who?
That's true.
It's just Doomfist. It's just Doomfist, or it's just Tracer, or it's just Wrecking Ball, or it's just Widowmaker, right? It's those big ones, right? The big ones with, I would say, extremes in their natures, right? Cassidy is not huge. Ana, not that big. Lucio, not that big. Soldier Mirror, obviously not that big. Sojourner, not that big. But if they're running, a Reaper, right? You probably need to know where that guy is. This is also just playing them. This is, to be frank, playing the objective poorly from you.
Yeah, that was.
You need to capture this point, right? So you need to be setting up your defender's advantage here, because this is overwhelmingly strong for defenders. There's no reason for you to be fighting over here if you have to cap here.
Yeah, this mode still confuses me a little bit, honestly.
It's tricky.
Yeah,
it's poorly balanced as well. So, for example, this is like a great moment here. With the power of hindsight here, you have all the information you need to know how you should position right now. How should you position?
Say farther left or farther right.
I agree. Farther left or farther right. Why? You're saying closer angle, really. Why?
Farther away from Doomfist.
Right.
Yeah.
But aren't you far enough away from Doomfist here?
That's true, but there's also 4 people looking at him.
Sure.
Or for my teammates.
My point being here is that because you know where he is, you're allowed to do something more aggressive.
I see, yeah.
Do you understand? So you can look at this as being a higher reward play with not as much risk because you know where Doomfist is. So there's no point in you just sitting here and sniping when you know we're the only guy that can contest you on your angles. You should probably go contest the Soldier over here, or you could probably go and contest the Lucio over here, or maybe even just shoot Doomfist for a different angle, right? But ironically, This little jiggle peek on the Sojourn here, that's what's really scary. You kind of see what I'm saying? That's the real threat here. Okay. This angle can work. It's very close, very aggressive. But what do you need to know before you peek here?
Doomfist.
Doomfist, right?
Yeah.
Where's that Doomfist? And or is there anybody else on me? Like if the soldier comes up here, you're going to need to fight him on the angle first. So you've seen Doomfist, you peek, and there we go. You see it? You didn't even need to fight here. You peeked the angle late, you had information. So what happens is there will be times when you actually hide. Probably would not ego that soldier at that point. Once you're already down, yeah, just like let it go.
This was kind of a, I don't remember how this visor went.
You just didn't have information, right?
Yeah.
So just shoot here. Shoot, wait for a response. So the problem here is, again, you just didn't have information on Doomfist, and then you just kind of blind pressed Q. An ultimate isn't going to compensate for your mistake, right? An ultimate should always complement your good choice, right? You know where Doomfist is, so you take an angle, and then you use your ultimate to make it even better. This is pretty much blind, and the only way this works is because you're already down or up one. Yep, go for it. Doomfist is dead, go for it. It's fine. I would say this is where you could break down your micro, or your mechanics. We'll talk about this. So you know that she has both CDs, so how should you take this?
I'd probably like jiggle the left corner or use the kind of cover on the right more so.
Yep, agreed. One of the big things as well with this character, and this is just knowing the 1v1, is you can never, ever, for any reason, allow her to nade you and herself at the same time. So the problem with this is that you actually hit a nice shot, you hit a nice helix, but she's able to nade herself and you at the same time. You see that? So that's a huge chunk of healing and a huge chunk of damage. And so even if you dodge Sleep Dart here, you're still probably not going to win this, because just with nade, she's just completely 180 this. Whereas if you played a little bit further back or jiggle peeked, maybe this isn't just a good thing to peek versus an Ana who has nade anyway. If she nades you, that's fine, because look at the amount of healing that she gets from that ability. I mean, look at this, because you start this so well. 92, 73, 54, and bam, right? She would be at 54 HP if she had to nade you, or you would not be naded, and so your heal station would actually function, right? So, so that's where we really break down to the micro, the mechanics of it. You just need to know that matchup better.
Okay.
But I don't think pushing that was unreasonable, unnecessarily. It was okay. You know where Doomfist is? You hear Doomfist? This is fine. I don't like how you played this 1v1. How should you play this 1v1? And this is just sloppy, right?
Well, this isn't exactly like good sightline on him.
You just missed your first couple of shots, even though you didn't know you were there, right?
Oh yeah.
So if we look here, right here, I mean, come on. Right. You also got a question, do I want to open with Helix or do I want to open with shots? Here, I'd probably open with Helix just because it's a guaranteed direct, right? I understand that there's like a balance between like, oh, I can Helix him as a finisher, right? I just think like if you ever can hit a free Helix, the cooldown's so low, just use it, right? Just peek this here, open with Helix, finish your shots, he's dead. Trust. Because then you miss your Helix because he's actually starting to strafe. You notice that? But yeah, good angle, good timing, good scouting. Yeah, it's fine. You have all the information you need.
You probably contest on the right.
I disagree.
Or disagree?
Yeah, go back to where before we started the review. Remember the Tracer example?
Yeah.
Who wins that duel in that range?
In the example?
Yeah. So remember the Tracer? What did you just see here? I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, the Doomfist. Or not Doomfist, Reaper.
Yeah, maybe you didn't say I was moving too fast. But yeah, you definitely see the Reaper here. So then use that information. What do you do?
Go left.
Go left, right. You can't contest this guy. Like, you could potentially if you were amazing, But that's also just disrespect to him, because as you climb in ranks, the Reapers are going to climb in ranks too, right? So in no world would it make any sense for you to contest this. So take left. You also have information on Doomfist, so go back to your original spot. I don't hate this, but I also don't love how this is a little bit of a worse sight lane, and also a little bit closer to the Doomfist, whereas this just provides a little bit better of a sight lane. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't think this is. I think this is fine.
Ended up being built out, yeah.
Right, and it's because it's just much harder to disengage than it is to do something like this here, where they have to commit cooldowns. You just run out here, no problem. But yeah, again, it's you took the angle, you took an angle, just wasn't the best one. And here, you got to be really careful. You don't need to stuff that angle. What's your advantage versus Reaper Doom?
Range.
Range, right. So are you using your range here? No. So where should you be?
Yeah, maybe in this exact scenario, maybe on the... And this is tricky, actually.
Mm-hmm.
If I started on the high ground, I could have jumped onto one of those platforms, and I have done that before.
Yeah, it's not bad. There's not a lot of cover here, but you have your range on both angles, right? You ready for the easy answer? Just play here.
Okay.
You can shoot from... Yeah, you can shoot from here, and you can shoot... You're just creating distance on the angle. That's all you're doing. You're taking the same lane, but it's a different angle. You understand? The same lane, but different angle. Somewhere on here, here. If they push you, you can rotate back. You could have. I could also see a world where this is okay here, but it's probably unreasonably in terms of too far. You don't need to be this far back. But yeah, you've got the right idea.
Yeah, my thought process here was, like you said, just kind of fill the gap and take that little bit of space. But...
It's the correct decision. It's just not well executed. You can fill the gap. I mean, literally think about where this Reaper peaks from. You see it?
Okay, so yeah, I don't have to actually be there.
Right, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And again, I want to clarify here, it's not that this flank is bad. This would be appropriate if they were on Widowmaker Zen. Or Hanzo, you know. Because now your advantage is your ability to reposition, go deeper. It just doesn't make any sense when you're playing a Doomfist Reaper. That's it. You chose the correct lane. You just didn't play. And so if you look, in terms of cooldown usage, you're like, oh, I forced Wraith, right? You completely diffed him mechanically. That's true. But in terms of cooldown trade, this goes way hairier than it needs to be. Your Life Weaver, in fact, is so scared for you that he puts attention on you and not actually on your Junkrat who needed it. And that's why you lose your Junkrat. Because he's scared for you, and he should be.
I have gotten that comment a few times from supports, like when I rarely have the chat on.
Yeah.
But that I play scary for them.
You play flanky, you play angly, which is good, but you don't always play your effective range, which is bad.
Okay.
If you played here as like versus a Hanzo Ashe comp, this would feel significantly worse. It wouldn't be bad, but it would make less sense. This would make more sense, right? So it's not. You need to. It's not about the depth of the flank is bad. The depth of the flank is contextually bad, right? You see how much easier this is? Like you don't even hit your helix, but you're just like you're falling asleep at the wheel. You know what I'm saying? What can this guy do? You know what I'm saying? It's just endless pressure. This is good. And then as you hear Doomfist and Reaper back up, and as you see your Reinhardt push forward, that's when you deepen. You notice that? Because you know there's nobody going to be here. And sure enough... Okay, that helix was something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think you have mid to high Masters level mechanics. I don't think your mechanics are a problem, but they're definitely not a strength point. They're just there. Maybe this isn't a perfect representation of your gameplay, but there's been a couple times where kills needed to happen or happen faster or more efficiently if you were to be aiming for a higher level.
Yeah, I'd say rockets are probably weak. I meant more like mechanics overall. I don't think we're like super weak.
With the information that you have, is this appropriate? I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna have you. I'm gonna turn up the stream volume a little bit here, and I'm just gonna sit and just close your eyes and listen for a second.
My ultimate is almost ready. Stand behind me, friends. Life from life.
Attack the objective!
Who did you hear?
I might have just hyper focused on the soldier, but definitely the soldier.
Listen one more time. At the very end, listen.
Life from life.
Attack the objective!
Did you hear that Doomfist shot?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Doom, doom, right? That's very important information, right? Because it goes, oh, he's not up top. But you know what you didn't hear? Reaper. So I actually like this angle, but that's the power of hindsight. You had no information on Reaper, and you could probably predict that Reaper is somewhere here.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So I don't hate this angle, but you need to be very cautious about pushing forward here without knowing where Reaper is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I knew at this moment.
I mean, you haven't seen him. And
yeah,
you
I
haven't heard
seen
him.
so.
And you haven't heard him. So, okay, so then now, all of a sudden, this is perfect. So even though you're like, okay, I don't have heal station, this is fine. I think your mistake here is you needed to be patient. You grab the mini here, and then honestly, run back and go sit on the angle. It's 1 for 1, but you're wasting his time. He's wasting your time. You don't have heal station yet because you misused it forcing the rotation. That's fine. Just chill.
Yeah.
You just missed.
Yeah, I was thinking I should have backed up, but it would have been better just to stay.
Just better to stay in the angle, right? Because then they have to think about you. You got the passive heal. You're good to go. You're fine. But again, I want to clarify the more important in terms of what we're talking about error there was committing to an angle without having information on that angle. You did not know where Doomfist Reaper was, and so you committed anyway. That's the problem. Is this good? Appropriate?
Yeah, I'd say for a starting point.
It's not bad. It feels almost a little too far. And then you push forward as your tank pushes forward, and as you hear cooldown, so this is fine.
When you said that angle is too far?
Well, as in, like, there's an extreme, right? How much pressure can you do from here?
Oh, okay.
It's not
too
bad.
far away.
It's not bad, but if the fight does happen on the choke and doesn't happen here, you might not be able to do any damage, right? That's the one problem. I don't think this is bad. This is fine. You did get damage. Just be aware of that. There's a balance, right? This is fine.
I think I was looking for the on in there.
Uh-huh. You just heard Doomfist, saw Doomfist across. Do you like this angle?
Match point.
I mean, I can shoot the Lucio here, but it's not that great
With
of an
where-
angle. I think I was concerned about the Ana.
I mean, this is fine. This is fine. Like, really, don't overthink it. You have a good sightline with where the fight's going to happen. You're taking the angle away from the Doomfist Reaper. This is fine. Now you get a little lucky here and dodge the anti-nade, right? Again, you got to be really careful about that CD. So but, you know, she doesn't hit it, and so now you're fine. You can see how much different that 1v1 goes when she doesn't hit the anti-nade on you. Or not on both of you, right? Like, even though she hits the sleep, she actually just has to leave. Good visor, good visor. Good visor also because you knew, in theory, where the Doomfist was. And it wasn't here, right? It wasn't here, right? He's over here, so if he's going to get to you, it's going to take 2 cooldowns.
Yeah, I remember here I visored because I knew, like, there's just, like, the soldier standing alone on point.
Yep. I mean, you were able to create distance between yourself and Doomfist. He chased you, but it took him too long to get to you, and so that's it. Good angle. You know where Doomfist is. You know where Venture is. It's the same thing with Venture, right?
Yeah.
I don't really understand why you do drop sometimes. I noticed that. Last fight, it was understandable to avoid the Doomfist. I don't understand this here. I think you're, like, in an urgency to get a kill, but you don't need to. Your Ryan's here, your Ana's here, you're here. If you hold the angles, there's nowhere this Venture can go without dying.
Yeah,
Right.
just be more patient and play the
Be
angle.
more patient. Be more patient and play the angle with where the fight. Because now you're gonna have to pursue, and now this is freaking terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because now you're walking into the Venture, right? Who ends up having to touch, which is nice. Good rotation here, by the way. Really good rotation. What did you do? What information did you have, and what did you do about it?
Saw a lot of scary enemies on the right, so I went more left.
Very close range enemies, so you create more long range, and this is what Soldier's exceptional at. Malgus on main, and there you go. Nice job. Okay, let's keep going here. Survasa Esperanza, what do you think?
the Saravasa game was interesting because I like died a ton. I think I died 10 times in like a 10-minute game, 13-minute game. The Esperanka one, I think both of them are similar. I think Esperanka is probably a better VOD because it was
Okay.
closer.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions so far?
No, I think what I need to work on makes sense. I am like taking like pretty consistent off angles and flanks, just not like
Yep.
considering my range
Yes.
enough.
Correct. It's considering your range given the outliers, because if you look at it, you can't track everybody's positioning, right? But if you look at the enemy comp, if you had to pick one character, who do you track?
Hazard,
If you had to pick two characters, who would you track?
Hazard, and Tracer.
Got it. Everything else is kind of flexible, right? I mean, Sojourn with rail, but that's situational, right? Like you know, Sojourn without rail, you can still kind of sniper down, right? So it's like it's not that big of a concern. But like I think right now, with the information that you have, or information that you just don't see anything, where could you go? Yeah. See,
Go
thank
left.
you. Right. So you rotate deeper left. This is good.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. But...
Oh, is it? I'm not even saying rotate through here.
Oh,
I don't think you need to necessarily do that. That's more of a deeper flank if you'd like to. But as in, I see, there's nobody in here, so I can just deepen my angle, which is what you did.
yeah,
Oops,
okay.
That's not the wrong person. So you're like, I can't. Basically, because you don't want a full sniper. Because again, this just feels a little too far.
Yeah, I couldn't really do much damage there.
Now, when do you press W here? You want to deepen your angle. When? What do you
Well,
need
if I
to
know
see?
the Hazard's not there here, I probably don't want to push into him anymore.
Right. Where's that Hazard? Where's that Tracer? Okay, now, go. Right, go. Go. Right, because even if you run into Tracer here, where is that Tracer? You know, right? You've heard her. Where is she?
In main.
Right. Now I know this is an old VOD, right? But yeah, she's in
Yeah.
main. Right. So you peek this here. Tracer cannot contest you here. She can't. Why?
Just too far away for her.
It's too far
She'd
away.
have to use a couple blinks and
She can't win.
Yeah.
She can't win. And if she does win, then you just suck mechanically. GG, try again. Right, next time. Right. But this is all the information you need. Bam, go. Rotate, fill it. And there you go. Like you already do these things naturally. The question is do you do them consistently? And that's the answer. That's the answer is no. Right.
Yeah.
By the way, this heal station's bad.
yeah, it was a bad one.
Really no expectation of damage, I think, there. I mean, they didn't even know that you were there. It's kind of so cheeks, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Like really, I mean, you could feel the impact there, like, right? I mean, it was an exceptional value from that angle. And all of that started because you recognized where people were and then filled the gaps, right? I mean, that's what Soldier really is. He's a gap filler, right? He's a gap filler. There isn't a DPS in the game that is as flexible with positioning and flexible with range than Soldier. He's just a gap filler. Like, so wherever the enemy team is not, you fill that gap. Like right now, this feels sloppy. Why?
It's way too close.
It's way too close.
Yeah.
Well, but it's way too close to on a Juno Sojourn, right? It's not necessarily bad, but it's
Yeah.
so this in theory. So my point being is that this actually might work out okay, but you didn't know that. You didn't know where Tracer was.
I'll try to repay the favor.
Yeah, I think I just instinctually like ran forward
Right,
here.
right.
And
So
then
you
the Sojourn
instinctually
kills
run
me.
forward, and the only information, and I'm listening here. Okay, maybe you responded to the Tracer ping. You see that? Maybe that's kind of what you respond to. If I'm cutting you some slack, but like frankly, like I don't see any reason for you to do anything other than hold the angle here, right? Until you have more information, right? Or maybe even hold the angle here, right? I don't think this demands this deep of a flank. And then obviously missing the Helix hurts.
Yeah.
Much better.
I didn't
I would
realize
say-
she called me here.
Yeah, I would say if I were to give you like a mechanical thing, you really have to work on slowing down and hitting your helixes consistently. Like it is just unbelievably important, and you know that, but it is a definite weakness of your play. And I don't have any advice outside of slow it down, be deliberate. That's it.
Okay.
There's no tip, there's no hack, there's no mouse grip. You just need to slow it down. Read the opponent's movement and hit it, especially with projectiles. Slow it
Yeah,
down. Like if you look at this, if you look at the helix here. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I think I just like reaction helix too much and don't really like
Yeah.
read the target.
Well, you usually you want to. That's the end goal, right? But if you have aspects, I mean, you know this with rock climbing, right? If you have everything needs to be instinctual. But if there are aspects of your game that need to be shored up or are weak, you have to deliberately practice them and slow it down, right? So you actually have to be a lot slower than you'd like to be to address a weakness, so that then you can do it quickly, right? So like right here, it's just crosshair drags behind and then overcorrects and then recorrects, right? And then that helix is the difference between you living here and you dying, because if you hit the helix, she's unable to pursue. It's as simple as. So, okay.
I think when I took that flank initially, I was thinking, oh, this might be a good flank, but I didn't really think about like why it would or how it could be a good flank.
Yeah, remember
just, like,
level 3,
took it.
right? We're looking
Yeah.
for level 3. That's what we're looking for. You do take flanks, which is why you've hit masters, but you don't considered the best flank. You hear them pushing forward, and heck, you could use a lot of information. Like, look at the blue number on the top of your screen. You see it in the middle, right underneath? See the people pushing robot? 2.
Oh,
hear Juno?
I actually didn't realize there was a number there.
There is a number there, right? You can use that information, right? Like, we're not just talking about like what you can hear, what you can like. There's all sorts of ways, right? You could be like, okay, I don't think the tracer is going to go for me here because she did this last time, or I've heard the hazard on main, because this is just as deep of a flank as last time, but I like it better because not only, by the way, is it timed really well, but I've not heard any hazard or tracer. Right? Last time, you didn't hear any hazard or tracer, but you didn't really have any reason to think that they wouldn't be here. Here, you're more like, okay, they're probably pushing cart. I've not heard any of them for like 10 seconds, so chances are there's nobody here. It's a guess, but it's an educated guess. And so I predict that this is probably going to feel pretty good. Are you going to kill everybody? I don't know, but you're going to get a lot of resources here. I mean, again, with the helix, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's an interesting one where maybe you don't helix at all, right? Because why? Why would you not consider helixing this? What's changed? What's the
Well,
situation?
they're low and it.
When is a projectile
once I-
harder to hit compared to hit scan? Especially a slow-moving projectile.
Yeah.
How easy is it to hit
It's
helix
harder.
here? And how easy is it to hit helix here? You understand?
On the ball.
Well, no,
Or-
at this distance, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Helix point blank, helix a million miles away. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I have to like. The target reading is much more
The
difficult.
target reading is much more difficult. Look at the situation that you have here. This is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard.
Yeah, I
mean-
think I shot it thinking I could get the Ana and the Sojourn, but
Sure. And you do get the Ana, by the way. But I think focusing on the helix takes you away from actually securing a kill, which should have been your first priority. So here,
yeah.
to be honest with you, Voltaic. This is your priority. To kill the Sojourn, then worry about the Ana.
yeah.
So there's situations at extreme ranges like, with a lot of crazy movement where, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's still good value, right? Still good value. And I like this reposition too. That's one of those healing stations that's a bit hindsighty. You weren't sure. It makes sense. Now you have information here. What information do you have? Where's Hazard?
He's like kind of. Well, he's backing off. He's on my left.
Right. So in theory, this should be clear, right? But how long will this be clear? Let's be honest, right?
Not that long because
Not
he's
that
rotating.
long. Not that long. So you're going to take a couple of shots here. You need to hit that helix. Holy crap.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing that they're quite bad.
And sure enough, there it is, right? He fills the gap on left. And so you're going to die, maybe? Oh, no. But you see this works out. Why? Because you heard Hazard left, filled gap right. Filling gap right works. And then even though Hazard deepens on left, he fills the gap from here and not at point blank range from here. You see that? That's the difference. And so you actually are able to kill him because there's a gap between you and Hazard, much like the Reaper on the previous game. Remember?
Yeah.
Good stuff. You know where Tracer is, so where should you go? Right? Is there any reason not to go left now? No. She knows she's
No.
down blinks. She doesn't know that you're there. You can also create some distance between yourself, so she's cooked. That was a risky Helix, but it felt like she was moving in a predictable pattern, so it made sense.
Yeah,
There
it
was
was
a chance.
close.
It was, yeah. Frankly, I wouldn't run. Wouldn't
I'll
run.
just stay here.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't necessarily stay here, but I wouldn't run off, right? I mean, come on. You know Hazard's limitations, right? He's going to get to about here, okay? So then where should you rotate to, right? Just here.
Towards the Mega.
Just here, right? Just here. Just a little over, right? So where he can't quite gap close, right? Just create a little bit more distance, right? You don't need to fully run out. And know your enemy's limitations, right?
Okay, just like, create the... Or rotate only as far as I need to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's both, knowing your opponent's capabilities, but also knowing their limitations. Like if this was a diva, for example, I'd be the same thing. I wouldn't be playing point blank, but I'd also be like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to reach me instantly. However, if this was a Winston, yeah, I'm out. I'm out, right? Like I'm out. I know that guy can traverse 1,000,000 miles instantly, so I'm out.
This ends now.
Like here, you're a menace, right? This is good. This is good. You know where she is. You're filling the gap. You're going for a deeper flank.
Got you in my sights.
A bit of a blind visor, but an educated blind visor. And so it's going to work. There it is. And there it is. Do you see the good that you're doing here? Right? You're responding to the information that you have and punishing. And when you do it, you're popping off.
Forward spawn.
Yeah, I just need to do that more.
Exactly. It's easier on maps like this where things are more open.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we actually ended up losing this game, but...
I don't know that I love this. I think that you can just do the exact same thing here and just take this power position and create space. This can work, but it only works if Tracer's not here.
Yeah, I think, I kind of realized we,
Because you're thinking, oh, but I'm not going to die here. Okay, that's a good stick. But like, let's say that she doesn't stick you here. The problem is she's still able to contest 2 of you at once because you have to respect her because it's a close sight line. So it's not, oh, I shouldn't die here. Doesn't matter. Remember the example we said at the very start of our review, which was when you contest a Tracer in a close range, who is likely to have a positive resource trade there? It's going to be Tracer, not you.
Yeah, I was thinking about, because this happens twice in like the other area on the map that's just like this too, where she just kind of owns me in this small space.
Exactly. And so this is what happens. So even though it's a 2v1, it doesn't matter because she's likely to be able to live this 2v1, which is value, right? She gets 1 shot from her Ana, 2 shots from her Ana, and there's just no way that you got 2 DPS basically being 1v2'd by a slightly Ana-pocketed Tracer. That just can't happen. Whereas if you're here, Hazard's bleeding out of his ears. Juno can't take this angle. And your Tracer can still take the 1v1 because it's close versus close range, right? But it just doesn't play to your effective range. This makes more sense if they were not on Tracer. This position is good if they're not on Tracer or if the Tracer is not here, right? Because again, what if the Tracer wasn't here? Well, it'd be good. But you know the Tracer's here. You knew the Tracer was here starting here. You heard her. You hear that? She's up top here. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to think, And you knew it, right? You knew it. You're thinking, you see your crosshair placement, right? You knew it, and you still chose to contest her, right? It's not bad to contest a Tracer up close all the time. It's just not always something that you want to do if you have another choice available, and you absolutely have another choice available. Some maps, you won't have another choice. Some maps, you won't have another choice. You'll have to take the duel. You absolutely have a choice here. I want to kind of see this pulse run. Pretty good pulse run. By the way, your Tracer, I coached him a long time ago in Contenders.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was a professional off-tank player.
Biotics deployed.
Thoughts, information, execution.
Yeah, should have gone anywhere else once the Tracer got close.
Yep, initial rotation here is totally fine because you hear value, you hear fighting in main. Nobody's here. Again, Helix moment, right? Which kills you again. And then here, you need to run.
Yeah.
Because I think there's enough distance between yourself and Tracer to where it will not be easy for her to close the distance on you. And I'm correct, right? You know that she used a blink here. So for her to pursue with that last blink means that she may die because you're going to run, grab Mega, and whatever. This is only appropriate here if she's able to get on top of you with 3 blinks, in which case you can't run. I don't hate it, though. I don't hate it. I think you probably thought that you couldn't run away, and I'm going to cut you some slack.
Yeah. I'm not very good at like counting blinks or realizing how many blinks they
Yeah,
have.
yeah, and it all comes back to, again, we're looking for information on the important people. Let's go ahead and jump to. I want to look at a little bit of Suravasa because I want to practice on a different map and I want to practice with different characters. Because there will always be 2 or 1.
Ready for battle.
So, it's the same Malga Hazard. All right, give me the 2. This rollout is fine. Gives you choices. Who are the 2?
Oh, Hazard and
Again,
Tracer.
right? Same thing, right? If you were playing versus yourself, it would be D.Va and Tracer, right? But yeah, this rollout is good. You have options here. You can deepen your flank here. This is good. Let's see what you got. Micro thing here. Stop moving.
Yeah, no one's looking at me.
Nobody's looking at me. You have a lot of information on their team. You know you're not going to get surprised by a one-shot here. Stand still and track this sucker's head. You are in a perfect position to do more damage to Hazard than Tracer does to your D.Va. But you need to stop strafing the voices. You know what I'm saying? Just lock and shoot.
Flashpoint unlocks.
You see rail. That's fine. Now you could argue here that you should have changed your position here. Where? You have information, all the information you need. What do you do?
Yeah, go on the flank. I was
Go on the
thinking
flank.
that.
Go on the flank, right.
But I was-
Fill the gap. Fill the gap. I think you're concerned about downtime here. I think you're concerned about downtime,
Yeah.
probably. And I understand. But the alternative here is that you don't end up doing a ton. I mean, that Helix on a Tracer is nice, but that's kind of lucky. To be fair, I don't think this is a mistake. I think it's just something to consider, if that makes sense. I think the biggest mistake was you needed to do 200 more damage on that Hazard. You know, as simple as that. But yeah, this is good. This is good. This is good. Like, you could see the value of your positioning given the context of where people are. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's huge.
I noticed his wall is quite good, actually, I think.
It's very good. It's the most important part of his kit, really. Not the most important part. It's the most dynamic part of his kit. But yeah, you die here, you should have run. But I will also say, at this point in time, this fight's lost. I don't think it really matters, to be honest with you. So, I think initial rollout's good. Helix was honestly okay, considering you're just kind of throwing it at long range at that point. The initial damage was bad. And the opportunity to maybe rotate is something to consider. Don't get lazy. Don't get lazy. Don't get lazy. Oh,
Yeah,
there's no wall there. It feels like there should be, you know? It feels like there should be. I feel you. Okay. Again, I just don't think this is smart. This is you know where this Tracer is. You know where that Hazard is. Why go here when you have a choice?
Yeah, I think my thought process was, okay, I went left and took an angle, but it got no value that entire fight.
Look
So I
at your
decided to
charge.
just play with the team, but I think I did get value. It's just
I think so too. I think
yeah.
you could have gotten more value, but I mean, come on. I mean, ult charge isn't everything, but look at your ult charge here. Look at your ult charge compared to the team that won.
Oh, yeah, it's quite high. Yeah, my Ana's only got 15.
Yeah, you did good damage. You did good. You did a lot of damage. You did a lot of pressure. It was definitely more of a sniper angle. You needed to do more by standing still, as I already said a million times. But it was fine. Like, this is where you cannot be results based, right? You have to be like, okay, I felt like the angle made the most sense, and so now you're gonna try to rotate into a contested Hazard and Tracer angle, and it's gonna go predictably poorly.
Yeah, I think I realized that after this fight.
I mean, you see the problem? You see the problem here, right?
Yeah.
This is the problem,
Yeah.
right? First off, you immediately, like, this is an angle that you can peek if you don't have an option, but you need to peek this cautiously. Like, don't even push the door frame, right? Shoot here. If Hazard sees you, you make him choose, do I go in the soldier who's just going to run away because he's just outside the door frame, or do I ignore him and then I have to commit a cooldown here, and then you walk forward, right? Fill the gaps. I don't even hate this angle if you have to. If you don't have time to rotate here, okay. But don't rotate here now. You don't know where this Hazard is, right? It's the same thing we're talking about on Anubis. You don't know where this Hazard is. You only know where Tracer is. So you're going to go, oh, frick, and you're going to die, right? Whereas that should have been a complete waste of time for him, and you should have gotten out with almost full HP.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So you're kind of feeling probably right now pretty helpless, like every single angle you take is getting stuffed, but it's because you're not taking in any information before you go.
Yeah.
both
that's probably-
offensively and
yeah.
defensively, right? Like, you died here unnecessarily, and you could have gotten more damage here. So you could have been more aggressive, and yet also you need to be more defensive. That's why I don't like using the terms aggressive defensive. You just needed more information, and you use that information to make a decision. Like now, with the information that you have, you've seen Tracer CDs, you've seen Hazard CDs. Heck, you could freaking push Tracer now, right? You could walk into her. You've seen her use recall. You've seen her use 2 blinks. Now you don't even need to be scared of her, right? Heck, you don't even need to look at her now. This is way too much attention for Tracer. You kind of see what I'm saying? So it's not just like about choosing which angle. It's also dictating how you behave.
It's like here, I should probably just try to fight her then.
Yeah, you could,
Yeah.
or ignore. Completely ignore. She's not worth your time. She's not scary at all, right?
Okay.
A Doomfist without C. Remember the very first question we had about the Doomfist, right? When do you need to be careful? When can you deepen? When we see you use Doomfist, use CDs. When can you deepen your flank and not worry about Tracer? When you've seen her, where she's at. Dude, this is fine. Keep going. Go, 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 go. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Right? Nothing to see? Always deepen. You will find something, right? You see it? I don't hate you marking Tracer because you are playing your effective range here, but why not keep deepening? You know? There it is.
Yeah, I think I was scared for my Ana there.
Don't worry.
But yeah.
Value is king.
Okay.
Hit that freaking Helix. Holy crap. Like, it doesn't... The thing is, it's like, obviously at this range, it's never a guarantee, but, like, you didn't even lead her movement. Like, she was actively moving backwards, and yet you shot in front of her. So definitely something to practice. This is fine. You're playing your effective range. Now, this fight's lost, so it's not going to matter. But yeah, this is fine. Okay. Initial rotation was almost there. Almost there.
Everyone heal up.
Where do you need to be? You hear Hazard, right? He's on main. Where do you go?
I could take a flank on the right.
Sure could. You
Yeah.
could go up here and you could listen, like, where's Tracer? Where's Tracer? Where's Tracer? Where's Tracer? Let's go up here and let's see what happens, okay? So we're going to be here. We see and hear Tracer. Okay, now what do you do?
Now I go right. Or now I drop. We're not drop.
You don't even need to drop, right? Sit and listen
Yeah.
for Hazard. Sit and listen for
Yeah.
Hazard. There it is. Now, pop visor. You see it? Do you see it? Why?
Yeah, that would have
What's-
been quite a good play.
But because now, where is Hazard, right? He's too far now. He can't
Yeah.
get to you. So if you pop visor now, it's over. It's over. Like, even if you don't even get a lot of kills, even if you just get 1 kill, or even if you get 0 kills, you've won this fight. It's over. Because you're going to create such a horrific split and for so many cooldowns, that's it. And all of that is just based off of information that you could have easily gotten on your own. Holy crap. This D.Va's eating all the pulse bombs. But to be fair,
Yeah.
the Tracer's telegraphing them like crazy. Where should you go? You have all the information you need. You've seen recall. You've seen Hazard. Where do you go?
Go left. Go left.
Go left. That's right.
Yeah.
Go left. Go left. Don't hesitate. Because you're looking, and this is not a bad angle, right? You've got a nice sniper distance, but you could. This is where you can be more aggressive because the value is free. It's just free value, right? There's nobody here. If Tracer contests you here, you know that she's dead because she's used all her abilities. Just go. So again, I don't think this is a bad angle, but it could be better. Again, the movement. You notice that? Nobody knows that
Yeah.
you're here. Nobody cares. Just stand still and free fire for the first couple of shots.
She got out
There's-
1 HP.
Yeah, I mean,
My sights.
again, you know where Hazard is? Tracer's dead. This is good. This is going to work. See it? Good stuff. You got time for one more fight? Let's do one more. If you got
Okay.
time for it. Let's
I got
actually
time.
let's skip ahead to a different point entirely. There's Hazard. You can totally ego this guy at this range. You can ego really any of their comp at this range outside of maybe Sojourn. So just they can't reach you. They're too slow. Probably didn't need heal station there.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Now you hear Hazard there. So your only concern is where's Tracer.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, there aren't a lot of choices here, okay? Because you can't... This is just poopy, right? This is just terrible. You're probably going to have to run into Tracer here. You kind of see what I'm saying? There's not a lot of other choices. So that's okay. Be prepared. Let's see how you do it. Big thing with Tracer is hitting the first couple of shots. Because if you can force the 2 blinks immediately, you're cooking. So here, you hit a couple of shots. Good. Not terrible. Could have been a little okay. I thought you hit a shot, so you didn't. Okay, so you need to hit a couple of shots. The next thing here is never, ever, 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 ever immediately Helix. Always try to patiently force out the blinks and then use the Helix later here. Because to be honest with you, as somebody that coaches a lot of tracers, they're not thinking about dodging Helix right now in terms of reacting. They're predicting. She's going to do 1 or 2 blinks no matter whether you use Helix or not. She's not dodging, she's just predicting. So what you do is you wait for them to do their typical dance routine. 1 blink, then 2 blink, and then you Helix. You get what I'm saying? Because that will do 1 of 2 things. That will force recall or that will force their final blink, which will force a recall anyway. Because she's just going to blink, and she's going to blink. You see, she's not even react. She doesn't even see if you're helixing. She's just completely spamming her buttons. You see that?
Yeah, she used all 3.
Yep, she used all 3. Now, they won't always use all 3, but you don't need to force helix to force blinks. They're going to use blinks regardless.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't wondering about that, but I do know, like, Tracer's probably my worst, like, 1v1 matchup against TPS.
Yep, it's tough. This is one of those times, though, where I'm going to give you some slack in terms of like the angle that you chose because there really wasn't another option, right? Kind of what we talked about on Esperanza. Like, there was going to be points where, that's really your only choice. I mean, you could have sat back here and poked, but we both know that the damage there would have been just completely negligible. You needed to take the angle, just needed to win the 1v1. That's it.
Okay.
You have all the information you need. Yep. Deepen. And you just know that you're going to get away with murder here, right? You've seen them use cooldowns. You know that there's nobody here. You know Tracers and spawn. Let's go.
Watch your back.
I lied. I want to see one more fight. I want to see one more round, actually. I want to see a different fight location.
I think I played this point pretty well, but maybe not this fight, but kind of the end of this whole point.
This is fine because you kept seeing the Tracer committing from like these long angles, so she's like constantly triple blinking in, which is actually why she got slept. Check this out. That's my prediction anyway. Yeah, there it is. Right. She just uses a blink to commit instead of committing from a shorter angle, so it's just very easy to sleep.
I've got you in my sights.
This is dumb. This is dumb because you could be so much more greedy, right? Like you've committed the Tracer, you know where Hazard is, so where's the gap? Where's the gap?
Well, it's on the right.
It's on the right? Nobody's going to contest you here. So even if you just visor air and everybody hides, you're still going to do more effective damage than visoring tank, right? So this visor's cheeks, and the angle's cheeks too.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I was thinking they were on point.
Even if they were, if they're on point, then deepen your angle to here. Nobody's going to stop you. Nobody's going to stop you. You know where Hazard is, right? So there's nobody going to stop you anymore. Okay, nice shots. And by the way, do you notice the nice little clip there at the end? You know why you hit those shots? Watch this.
I was standing still, yeah.
You're standing still. You saw no threat, and you stood still. Nice shot. You've seen blinks, you chaser. Go for it. Nice, Helix. You hit that one, I see how it is.
Yeah. I hit the close range ones sometimes.
This is fine.
I was thinking about going on the other high ground from here, but
probably too close.
Yeah, I thought it might be too close.
Yeah. This is good. I mean, this is a good angle. This is like you've creating some distance between yourself. I don't know if this would be good if they're on Hazard. Might be a little close to the Hazard, but given the context, this makes sense, right? Makes total sense. It's let's be honest. It's risky, but there is a lot of reward for the risk, right? I mean, look at this, right? Very difficult for Tracer to reach you. Very difficult for Zarya to reach you. You're not standing in the open for Sojourn Rail. Nice job. Yeah, really good. Really good. Nicely done.
Yeah. We ended up losing that fight. I don't remember how.
Okay, let's find out. Okay, that's how.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't catch that.
She tries to D.Va bomb. It's fine. You have all the information you need. Except for that. I thought that was Tracer over there. I was seeing the outlines through walls, but I was cheating. See, that's what I get for cheating.
Yeah, it can be hard sometimes.
But yeah, this is a good point though. This is like the exact same thing as the previous round, where it's like this is pretty much the only angle you can take. I mean, I guess you could rotate through here. This would be fine too, actually. But if you are going to take the Diego angle with Tracer, then you need to expect Tracer, right? Until you know where Tracer is, you need to expect this. Because you need to win this duel, and you didn't win this duel. It's weird to think of it as like a loss, but it is a loss because you had to get Pocket to make it work. You see that? So then what that means is that costs cooldowns, cost time, cost resources. So then now your Diva loses frontline presence. Now that being said, you did win the angle, so where do you need to go?
Go deeper.
I think you can go
On the
deeper.
right.
I think you can go deeper, yeah.
I think I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And see, now, this is, in theory, a duel you should win. Now, I know you don't have healing stations, so maybe there's that window where she gets you. But in theory, this should be hard.
This ends now.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. You see this? Like, do you see how this is a favorable resource trade? As simple as, right? Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
That actually
yeah.
I've got you in my sight.
I should have just rocketed. I don't know why. Yeah.
Pulse munitions delivered to target.
I mean, you missed the rocket is the key thing. I don't know. I think you should be pretty pleased with this fight from you. I think it was okay outside of initially being caught blindsided by the Tracer, but the overall play itself was like really good. And again, you can see the value of it. Okay.
Okay.
Level 3 Soldier. That's really the only feedback I'm going to have besides the Helix. Analyzing team comp and map to fill gaps. Prioritize 1 or 2 heroes to position around. Use info to position. Slow down helixes. Find windows to stand still. That's it. Any questions?
I'm curious what the levels you say actually, like level 3 soldier, like
basically just a way of framing it is as you're brainlessly taking angles right now, almost entirely brainlessly. I'm being a little facetious here, but you are not being as thoughtful about your angles, but it's still good. Taking angles, good. Hitting Masters Diamond 1, good. Great, even, right? Good job. But what's the best angle? And if you are going to take this angle, what do you need to be thinking about? That's kind of where you're missing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I think we kind of went through it piece by piece, whether it was Tracer, whether it was Doomfist, whether it was Hazard, whether it was Zarya, whether it was Sojourn, right? Piecing out how you need to approach things. And the key thing is that there's going to be a lot of information kind of incoming. So I encourage you to not try to analyze every hero, every comp, and sit there for hours and hours and hours, but go, hey, they got a Tracer. I'm going to think about where is that Tracer and take my angle accordingly. And that's it. Or they have a dive tank. I'm going to think about where is that dive tank. I'm going to put, that's it. Just one hero, even just one. Now, we were doing 2 in the review because it's a little bit easier because we're slowing things down. But one hero, that's totally fine. That's a great start. That's level 2.5, right? We'll take that. In terms of the other stuff, I would encourage you to put a lot of emphasis and practice into your positioning. By far the most important thing, I think. But actually, that's not even really true. I think what I would say, it is a very important thing for you to practice, but your helixes standing still, also very important for you to practice. So I would alternate things per game, per day, per week, however you want to approach it. I like practicing things per game, frankly.
One at a time.
I like practicing things per game because I used to do things 1 per week and I got really bored. So you may not want to practice positioning all week long. Just it's going to be boring. But you could practice, hey, this is New Queen Street. There's a ton of positioning choices. So I think this is a great map to practice positioning. Or, hey, it's been a while. I haven't practiced my helixes all day. So let's go into a game and let's just nail every single helix. I'm going to be super deliberate about reading movement and nail my helixes. So it's fun. Like they could just mix it up depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Like especially on maps that are good for soldier, work on the positioning.
Yep.
Maybe then on like Ilios, I can just work on rockets.
Yep. And honestly, there's the alternative way to look at it. Maps that are bad for soldier, you work on your positioning.
That's true. Yeah,
it becomes a lot more punishing, a lot harder for you to figure out what you need to be doing, right? So I think really looking at it from both perspectives can be very useful.
Okay.
All right, mate. Any other questions?
No. I think you answered everything.